Welcome back to the wreath making workshop. I'm Julie Samako, owner of Southern Charm Wreaths. I've been doing this since what? Oh my gosh, 2009 is when I started my business, but I had been making wreaths way before then. And so it is always fun when I get to make something. Let me show you my table. Let's look at what we're designing with in this wreath, okay? This is the color palette. Now, how do I choose my color palette is a question I get all the time, and it really just depends on what my inspiration is. For me, it was this spray right here. I purchased this and I absolutely loved it. It has these larger berries on them, you know, not the size of like a blueberry, which is smaller, but a larger berry. So I was like, oh, these are really cute, and it's icy. It's got not flocking, but just a little icing effect on it. So to me, this reminded me of winter. So I found this one I had in my stash. It's another berry spray, okay? And this has the cedar, this has like that bottle brush pine, and it has the blueberries that are smaller. It also has some pine cones. So now you're bringing in a little of the warm tone, right? So I absolutely love these together. So I started looking for now more greenery to just, I need something to pop. You always want to add contrast, okay? You always want to add contrast to your designs. And so I'm looking at this thinking, well, I like this, so I could add this. This has got, it's not flocked, but it's like sort of flocked, you know, not a lot. And it gives like an icy look. So you can see how that just adds a little more contrast, okay? And then I found this this Jingle Bell spray that I had in my stock, and I thought, ooh, I like that. Okay, so I might incorporate that. It brings in the white, right? And then I found this. To me, this could be, you could leave it or not. It's up to you. To me, this feels a little more Christmassy, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with wreaths that'll take you from Christmas into winter. I think it'll work for both Christmas and winter. All right, so we're gonna be using this 2.5-inch white Christmas ribbon. It's already got the blueberries on it. I love that it's got that neutral look to it. And then I have this navy that has this platinum woven in. So it's like a platinum thread. So it made sense to bring over some of that platinum with it. Okay. And then I pulled over this, it's a solid, I could have done a 2.5-inch, but I think I'll just do this one. And I just grabbed this because of the color, because you could see that it works really pretty with these blueberries, okay? So you're sort of like mixing in the blues, if you ask me, which I think is really, really pretty. All right, so let's make a bow, okay? We have a 14-inch grapevine wreath. So I start with a little bit of a tail. How long that is, you know, I don't know. Let me measure for you. 15 inches, okay? Sometimes I'm just feeling it out and I'm going with what feels right. Okay, so now we're going to start with a loop. I'm just pinching the ribbon in my 2 fingers, and I'm going to lay it on the mat, and I'm going to measure out to 12 inches, okay? And I'm going to pinch it into my 2 fingers, and I'm going to rotate 180 to get the pretty side facing forward. Then we're going to lay it down on the mat to 12 inches. Take it away from me. I'm going to pinch and pleat, and then I'm going to twist, lay it down on the mat to 12 inches. Do I want this bow to be big or small? Let's just leave it at 3. And I'm going to cut this about 8 inches. Okay, now I'm going to pull over the other ribbon. So this has 2 loops on one side of my thumb and 1 loop on the other. Now I'm just going to reverse this. This works also if you want to use an easy bow maker or a bow maker of your choice, okay? You're doing the same thing, you're just measuring out. Where I'm measuring 12 inches on my mat, you would just measure 6 inches on the bow maker, okay? All right, so 12 inches, pinch and pleat. Now at this point you can see that the ribbon is not on the pad of my fingers, it has moved back towards my palm. And that helps me to hold it without getting a cramp. Okay, we don't want to hold this so tightly that we get, you know, our thumbs cramping up. I'm just going to add a little bit of a ribbon all the way into the back, all the, you know, behind that bow, and then we're going to cut. Okay, so this is just going to add some longer streamers of that ribbon. Now I'm going to move my loops that I just made in front of that 2.5 inch, just like that. Okay, and these little streamers are going to go behind that loop. All right, so we've got it that way. Now we have both 3 loops on either side of our thumb. I'm going to grab this ribbon. Okay, let's do this one a little longer. I'm just going to do 1 loop of this. This one is going to be shorter, so we're going to go in to about 10 inches. And we're going to pinch, and then we're going to cut. Okay, so we're going to have a little streamer here, a little streamer above, a little streamer below, and then pull this to the front. Now I can always add more. You can add more loops later, you can add more ribbon later, so really don't overthink it at this point. Nothing has to be perfect when you get to this stage, okay? So now what we're gonna do is take our wire, and you're gonna turn over your hand, and you're gonna lift up your pointer finger, and you're just gonna slide that wire underneath. As you rotate it around, you wanna start to shimmy it under your thumb, okay? And when you get to this point, I'm gonna make sure my legs of my wire are even. So I'm just gonna pull one side a little bit more, okay? And now before I tie anything off, I'm going to fluff. This is why I like to use the wired ribbon. Now from here, I'm gonna pull the bow towards me and the wire away from me as I twist. Okay, and then here we have at least a starter bow, right? Something to start with on our wreath. So from here, let's go ahead and add it to our wreath since it's down here. My wreath is a little on the wonky side. So this is the side that goes up a little bit. So I don't want that to really be shown. So I think I'm gonna put my florals on this side. This is where I'm gonna create my design. All right, so we want to put this on here. From here, you're just going to pull it up as tight as you can and then twist. All right, you're just going to twist a few times, like, I don't know, no more than like 5. And I didn't go around the whole grapevine. I just went through some of the grapevine pieces. We're going to put this up on an easel. I do like to design. I say this all the time in Everbloom, our design club. I like to put my wreaths up because this is how it's going to be on a door. Now, let's look at our greens. We have the 2 blues. Okay, so we've got 2 of these. And I'm going to cut about 3 inches down from the top of the spray. You can see that there is this little notch. It kind of dips in right here. This is where they've wrapped everything together, and it's been, you know, really thick here, and then this is all stem. So all I'm going to do is just cut that right there, cut that stem off. Okay, I'm going to do it on both. Now, when I am putting this in my wreath, it is going under the bow. We're going to have one above the bow, and we're going to have one below the bow. So when I'm putting it in my wreath, I want to not put it like this. Do you see? And then have your bow. What I'm trying to do is have one on one side, one on the other, and then it go like this behind the bow. So this is all inside the grapevine wreath behind the bow, but I wanted to show you how I insert it. So what we're going to do is we're going to dip this in glue, and I'm just going to take my silicone spatula and give it a little coating. And like I said, we're going to go up above our bow. Right, and we're going to bend. All right, so this is very wobbly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some bind wire, which is thin wire wrapped in brown paper. and I'm going to secure this. I don't want this moving too much, and I can do that by just securing it about around one of the grapevine pieces. It might correct itself once I add more greenery and stuff like that, but for right now we're going to just tack it down. I'm going to do the same thing. Remember, we're going to go under the bow, so I'm going to add my glue, and at this point we're going to go to the side of the stem I already added. Okay, so we've got that. All right, so now we have another spray. This one has got a very thick wire, so let's see where we can divide. I think I want to do it right here is one. It's like pruning. Remember, when you're pruning your flowers in your yard, you cut close to where the new growth is coming out, right? For the most part. So I'm just going to divide this. Okay, and then I'm going to do one more. Let's do this about the same length, 3 inches. Okay, these have pine cones. I always take these off because they get hidden. It's not that I don't want them. I just want to have more control of where I add them. Now, this is where you decide what you want, what you like. You can keep this empty and just build out top and bottom, and that's a very modern look for today. Or you can complete this out, okay, and create the crescent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be the more traditional, and I'm going to create the crescent. So I'm dipping my stems in my hot glue, and I'm looking at if there are any holes, okay? So from here to here, I see that there's a little hole, and I can use my greenery here to fill it in. Just like that, all right? You see how I did that? All right, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on the bottom. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing. There's a hole right about here, but there's also a hole right about here. Let's see these little blueberries. Get out, get out. We want to see you. All right, so I'm going to do that one right about here. That's cute. And then I have, let's see, I have this piece, which I think will look really good on the side, just kind of finish it off on that side. Okay, and then we have this one over here that I think I'm going to go this way with. We are creating our shape using the greenery. So we'll cut this a little bit more. We'll put this one up here. And then I have this one that I'm going to take off the berries. I think I'm going to put this one on the inside. So now we have more of the greenery sort of going into the wreath. All right, so that's how we're incorporating the wreath. That way it's not feeling like it's about to fall off of the wreath. To make that transition, you just put more of your florals this way. We have one more stem. All right, now we have this little berry that we just cut off. I'm going to move it. I think I'm going to put it right here. That's cute. Let's add a few of these. There's just a pop of blue. All right, here is what I do for these. This is obviously a spring, summer flower, but I want to encourage you to not only look at supplies that way, okay? Sometimes you have to get creative. Sometimes you have supplies on hand that you need to use up. So now this is going to be really pretty. Notice how I'm cutting off the yellow green. The yellow green when we have a blue green in the greenery. So I don't want that much contrast. I want my contrast to be from the white. Trim these. All right, let's leave this one long. Give it all a little shape. Okay. And now let's add these to our wreath. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start above the bow, and we're looking for holes. All right, so we've got blue up above. Now we're going to take something and add opposite of this. We'll add more blue. Okay, let's work on up here. And then we're going to do one on the opposite side. Okay, now looking at our white pieces, I'm going to divide this pretty dramatically, okay? Stem and all, like, you know, all the way. All right, we're going to shape everything that we're using. Nothing in nature is straight. This is how it's shipped, you know, from the other countries, and so just give it a little life to it. Let's look. We're going to start again around the bow area first, and we're just going back and forth, just trying to brighten it up a little bit, I think. This one's the long one, so I'm thinking we could go all the way down underneath here. I'm trying to pay attention to the shape. That's how I determine where I want to add my next stem. Okay. And then I'm trying to keep the distance about the same from there to there. It's looking cute. We could add those other berries up here just to give us a little more berry, a little more blue. All right, now, do we want the bluebells? Not the bluebells, the white bells. Just going to divide. So the larger bell, we want to go closest to the bow. I'm just going to do one of these. All right, so here we are dividing, taking off anything that's going to potentially give us glue burns. All right, here's one that's larger, but we don't want to put it too close to the bow because I'm scared we won't see it. All right, there's one. Maybe we'll put this one down here. All right, let's do some on the top now. Okay, now I'm going to go a little white right here. Try not to drip it everywhere. Now with your pine cones, you just come back in and add them wherever you want. You want them to be seen. So I probably will add like something here. I've already got one up there, but I might move it so it's a little more prevalent. Now you can wire these onto any branch that you want to. Okay, this to me is what I think is going to help brighten and give that little bit of Christmas cheer to it. All right, where are we going? So we're gonna start as close to the bow as we can get. You want to go with the grain of the grapevine, so you want to push it really close to what you've got, the greenery already there. And then once it's in is when I just pull it back, pull it out, separate it. Okay, let's see. Well, now we're going to do some of this platinum on the bottom. Let's see. I want it right about here. Right, and we maybe do one here. And then one up there. Now, this is where we've added our texture, we've added our, we're gonna do our finishing touches. We've done all the things, right? We've done our focal, our emphasis or whatever. Let me go ahead and dovetail our ribbon streamers. You can, I'm just gonna angle cut actually. All right, that's cute. So now what we're going to do is add another ribbon. Let's see, I want my Christmas writing to be the same as what we already have. Always do your signs, your writing, your anything that's you're trying to figure out what direction. Always do it towards the center of the design, okay? Like the center of the wreath. So your signs would be angled in that direction. Our writing is going to now be in that direction. All right, so we have another little longer streamer. Right there. And then I might do another little light blue just to put some more light blue in it. Okay, and then the pine cones. I think I'm going to do a larger wire, something that's a little bit bigger. You could also use your bind wire if you want to here. All right, where do we want a pine cone? I feel like it needs to be, let's do one right up towards the bow. This one's just going to be glued to the bow itself. Dip it in the glue right here, and then we're going to find a place on our bow and then let it dry. Let's see, let's cut this now. And then I have this one. Let's do it down here. Try to figure out the best way to do this. I think I'm just going to wrap it around this branch. The one with the bells on it. And then our little blueberries. We're going to figure out how to add these back because they be pretty. If you want a little length, this is the wooden floral pick I was talking about. We have detailed tutorials like this inside of our Everbloom membership group. You're just going to take the wire and wrap it around. Okay, and then to secure that wire on top, you add floral tape. This is just going to help that wire stay. Okay. So now I have length. I can put this in the grapevine wreath without it getting buried. Perfect. Right, there's one. All right, I'm going to glue these on, like I said. This is going to be glued right here in that bow. And then I'm going to glue this one right here on the greenery. I think we're done. Turned out really pretty. Let me know if you have any questions below. Thank you so much for joining and watching. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for more wreath making tips. Also, if you join our Facebook chat, I will send you a picture of all of the items that I used in this wreath, okay? So I've got it in there. You go to facebook.com and then go to Southern Charm Wreaths Facebook page, hit the channels. All right, you guys, thanks. I hope y'all have a very blessed weekend, and let me know what I should make next week. Comment below and tell me what you're looking for, and I will try to incorporate it into the next week's schedule. But we're kind of busy. Next week, we are in Everbloom doing our members only event. So we're gonna do a lot more like tutorials and showing up a little bit more than we normally do. It's for members, and nobody has to do anything if you're already a member. It's just going to be a little more. We're going to do business stuff, and we're also going to do designing stuff every day. Look for some giveaways. Okay, I'm going to be boxing up some of my supplies and sending it to some of our winners. All right, so I'll see you guys inside of Everbloom next week if I don't see you live here on our Facebook channel or on our YouTube channel. All right, bye guys. Have a great weekend.